How's it going, everybody? Today I thought for my first ever video, long-term media on this YouTube channel, I decided, let's do fight predictions for this upcoming card this Saturday, July 11th. McGregor versus Holloway 2, UFC 329. This card is very exciting. I'm very excited for it in general. There's a lot of good fights on here. There's a lot of fighters I like to watch. A lot of very entertaining fighters. And I never would have thought that I would be saying this about, like a prediction video I would do in the future, anything like that. But I never thought I would see the day where Conor McGregor would be fighting this year. It's been anticipated for a very long time. He was supposed to fight Michael Chandler, but obviously we know what happened with that whole story. you know. And like his last official UFC fight was against Dustin Poirier. I mean, that fight he lost by TKO. I mean, Dustin Poirier just beat him up. I mean, Conor McGregor. This is not the first time that Conor McGregor has had like a year or two layoff, and he comes back. Like I would say, like he's done this a couple times where he like takes a like huge long break, but this is his biggest break like in forever. So it's very exciting to see like him coming back because I would say he's probably the most like popular MMA fighter of all time. So like him or John Jones, one of those guys are definitely the most popular MMA fighters of all time, or specifically UFC fighters of all time. But anyway, let's get into this card. Let's break down every fight, and I'm gonna choose who I believe wins. I'm gonna give a small analysis for each fight on why I think they win each of the matchups. Okay, so for the first fight, we have obviously the main event, this welterweight fight with Conor McGregor and Max Holloway. Max Holloway being ranked, as we know, he did lose to Charles Oliveira. Yes, that is true. And that fight, I a lot of people, including myself, thought Max Holloway was going to beat Charles Oliveira. But I mean, I all I can say is if you haven't seen the fight, you should watch it. I mean, it's not a crazy fight, but like it's the way Max Holloway lost. Everybody thought Max Holloway was gonna strike Charles Oliveira on the feet, strike with him. But that's the opposite of what happened. So, if you have time, you should watch that fight 'cause that's a good fight. But I'm pretty sure everybody's seen that fight 'cause that was a huge main event. So, anyway, let's get back to the fight. So, with this, I fight Conor McGregor. The amount of time he's taken off uh, from fighting, I feel like he has not really been doing anything that's like, like that he hasn't been keeping himself like he's been in shape, obviously. Yeah, we've seen photos and videos of him. He's been in shape. But I feel like he's been doing a bunch of side quests and like a bunch of scandals, controversy. Like I don't think he's fighter ready. Like he's not fighter ready for this fight. It seems like it. He's been talking a lot of shit, like smack to Max Holloway, which is, I mean, it's fair because that's who he is. That's the type of guy he is in the UFC. He talks a lot, but he can back it up. So I'll give him that. But I think this fight is gonna be the end of Conor McGregor any of the UFC in sport MMA. He's most likely going to be done after this fight. I don't see him fighting anyone else after this fight. I think Max Holloway is going to retire him. Think about it. If Max Holloway basically retires Conor McGregor, bro, do you know how crazy that would be? Bro, Max Holloway's career has been outstanding all throughout. He is one of, if not one of the best UFC resumes I've seen, like almost ever. I mean, he's a really good fighter. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. He has a lot of good moments in the UFC. I mean, in his last five fights, uh, he fought Charles Oliveira, he lost. He beat Dustin Poirier. He lost to Ilya. That's fair because Ilya was on a crazy run. He KO'd Justin Gaethje. It was like a viral KO, and then he retired the Korean Zombie essentially as well, who's also who's an MMA legend of the sport. But regardless of that, regardless of his resume, I do think that Max Holloway would genuinely like. I feel like he should be kind of cautious of Conor McGregor at this moment, just because Conor McGregor, obviously he's had a long layoff, but I feel like that he's gonna try to get like a feel of like the octagon, give him like 2 minutes for that, and Max Holloway's gonna try to be like like trying to see like trying to read him up because obviously they fought before. But the thing is, like we're not totally sure if Conor McGregor could like do something sporadic or out of nowhere to Max Holloway in round one. We don't know because it's been a while since we've seen him fight. He's probably still the same old Conor McGregor that we all know in terms of fighting skill. But I honestly think Max Holloway's just gonna round one. They're gonna be filling each other out, right? They're gonna be just pacing around with each other, following each other, throwing small shots, not crazy shots. No one's gonna be trying for takedowns, grappling, none of that in round one. Round two is where it gets better. Round two is gonna be the end of the fight, probably in the middle of round two, or maybe even like the beginning of round two. But I do think Max Holloway wins this fight by second round TKO. I think what he's gonna do is really just they're gonna be striking. He's gonna knock Conor McGregor down. Conor McGregor's gonna he's gonna scramble all over the mat, trying to get up, trying to redeem himself. Trying to get up and fight back against Max Holloway. But I think he's gonna get knocked down, and then he's gonna get like get still get punched, get knocked down again, and then just get like punched, and then get TKOs, and then the fight's gonna be like called off and it's over. And I have a feeling that Herb Dean's gonna be roughing this fight too. We all know about Herb Dean. We all know what he does, but let's not. But that's another video we can get into. But yeah, I think Max Holloway wins this by a second round TKO. I mean, I don't think it's like people are talking about, oh, Conor McGregor, could surprise Max Holloway and ended up beating him and ended up stunning him off his feet. It's like, no, I don't believe he's gonna do any of that in a million years, bro. I'm sorry, I don't want to be that guy. I love Conor McGregor, I love Max Holloway, but in the end, Max Holloway's gonna win this fight by second round TKO, and that's just it. I mean, that's all there is to it. I think this main event is like pretty good to me. I think this is a good fight, a really good matchmaking fight. Conor McGregor was looking for someone to fight. We thought it was gonna be Michael Chandler, but it ended up not being Michael Chandler. But Max Holloway is a good fight for sure. So I'm happy to see this fight. I'm excited for it, and I do think Max Holloway is going to win by TKO. So let's get to the next fight, the co-main event fight. The co-main event fight. This fight is another exciting fight that a lot of people have been talking about, and I think this co-main event. I feel like a lot of people are expecting, Paddy Pimblett to fight this summer, obviously. His last fight was a loss to Justin Gaethje in February, UFC 324. And Gaethje is a different specimen in the lightweight division. Every guy pretty much he's fought really just takes a lot of damage, and Justin Gaethje destroyed Paddy Pimblett in the sense of like Paddy can look at Justin Gaethje and look at Paddy Pimblett at the end of the fight. Paddy Pimblett looked like beaten up bad, but I mean Gaethje is different. That's what does to everybody. Regardless, he's versing another guy in Benoit Saint Denis, who's a very aggressive and vicious fighter. I mean, almost every fight in the UFC he's had, it's just been a finish. He's also been finished himself. I mean, he did lose to Renato Moicano, but that was by Dr. Stoppage. But Moicano was piecing him up though, so let's not think he wasn't doing anything. He's piecing him up. But Benoit Saint Denis, he's still a really good fighter. I mean, let's do some Poirier as well. But that fight, he kind of got a fraud check there. But like, it's not some Poirier. He was still a really good fighter in 2024 when they fought. So I mean, regardless, it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, shit happens. But I think against Paddy Pimblett, that's a good fight. The number 5th and 6th ranked lightweights. Paddy Pimblett is a really good grappler. I mean, everybody in his gym, I forgot what his gym is called again, the gym he fights at. But everybody in that gym is a pretty good grappler. But I think when it comes to people saying this fight is not, it's like, I mean, like there people are saying like 70-30 Benoit Saint-Denis. It's like BSD is good, but I genuinely think if they got to the ground, BSD would have a very hard time trying to finish Paddy Pimblett on the ground just because Paddy Pimblett's grappling is so good. I feel like BSD would not be able to elbow him or just ground and pound some like a bunch of punches on him. I think Paddy Pimblett would be able to defend that really well. But I don't think Paddy Pimblett is gonna, he's gonna get taken down like that. Regardless, I think he's gonna try to, fend for himself on the feet. But if it does go to the ground, I think he's gonna defend himself pretty well. But overall, I'm not gonna lie. Give me Benoit Saint-Denis round three. I would say by unanimous decision. I'm taking him by decision. I think Benoit Saint-Denis is gonna really just pressure Paddy Pimblett a lot into making a lot of decisions. But I do think on the ground, Paddy Pimblett has got it. He's locked in for that. But on the feet, BSD could, just he's gonna pummel him, just throw a bunch of punches on him. I mean, I feel like a lot of people are saying that Paddy Pimblett has a big chance of submitting BSD. I mean, I've heard that. I don't know if anybody else has heard that, but like other people have heard that. But I know me personally, I've heard that he could submit him. I mean, but that could happen. But BSD also doesn't have bad grappling either. So I mean, they are close in that, but I'll give the grappling to Paddy Pimblett. BSD is more of like a better striker. But yeah, I would say Paddy Pimblett is going to lose this fight against BSD by decision. I don't think it's going to be a finish here. It could be a finish around three, late round three, maybe submission. I don't know. But I will take BSD for sure by decision. This is a good fight. But Paddy Pimblett, I'm sorry, man. You're going to be on a losing streak for this fight as well. Another loss to your record will be added this Saturday. Watch. The next fight we have this bantamweight bout. This is a banger fight. Oh my god. When I remember seeing some of these fights were announced, I was like, holy shit. They were cooking with this card, really, like for real. Now we have Corey Sandhagen versus Mario Batista. Now, I'm not gonna lie, if you've seen the cover for my intros to my videos and stuff like that in the future and now, I do have Damon Blackshear on the cover. Damon Blackshear was and still is kind of one of the fighters I really like a lot. I don't really know why. I feel like I like his style. I don't. He's just a fun guy to watch. He's a lot of fun fights to watch. But before we even get this matchup, I will stay on this and I will say this for to the day I die. I'm gonna say this on my deathbed. This is not related to the fight, by the way. This is something different. But then I'll get bring the fight. I will say this: Damon Blackshear. To me, he was robbed against Mario Batista. I think he took round one, and then Mario Batista. You know what? I would say he took like 2 rounds. Mario Batista took round three, but that's a different video for a different time. But I do think Mario Batista robbed him. Other than that, Mario Batista has been on a very good run in the bantamweight division. He's been doing crazy shit. I remember his last fight against Vinicius Oliveira. I'm not gonna lie. In that prediction, I have Vinicius Oliveira beating Mario Batista by KO. But let's just say I was wrong. Completely wrong. He ended up, if you go back and watch that fight night card in general, that card was pretty good. Good card. But if you watch that specific fight, the main event of that card, bro, anytime Vinicius Oliveira was trying to do a takedown or trying to just strike him with Batista, Mario Batista would instantly just get his back, take him down, and then when Vinicius Oliveira tried to reverse his takedowns and reverse his grappling moves, he would just instantly recover, and then reverse it right back around, and then he would be back on top on him, or they're back in the feet and start striking again. Bro, Mario Batista, his grappling is insane. Oh my god, I'm being genius. They grappling, bro. As much as I hate what he did to my guy Damon Blackshear, bro, you cannot deny Mauro Batista's grappling is like fucking insane. Oh my god, no, genuinely. But Vinicius Oliveira is also very reckless and he's kind of a dumbass when it comes to being in these fights. There's a lot of dumb shit, we've seen it. But when he fights the right guy, then it's like, okay, this guy's a fraud. He's not really going to, ever get close to winning the belt. He can stay ranked, he can be in the top 15 all he wants, but he will never be a number contender, in my opinion, ever. But anyways, back to the fight. Mauro Batista, I like Mauro Batista a lot. I think his grappling is really good. At one point in time, I would say Mauro Batista has better grappling than Corey Sandhagen. But now we're talking about a Corey Sandhagen that is at his like tippy top. Like we're talking about Corey Sandhagen like a couple years ago. I would give Mauro Batista the win here, but I'm taking Corey Sandhagen to win this fight. I think he could win by submission, if possible, but I do think ultimately he's gonna win by decision. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, Corey Sandhagen, we all know about. He's had some pretty good fights in his career, his UFC career. And fun fact, he also has fought Mario Batista before, and he submitted him before as well, like a couple years ago, like not way back, but like it was definitely before COVID though. But he already beat him. He already beat him once, but still, you can't go off. Like you cannot. If you ever do predictions for a fight, you can never go off. Oh, they beat him in the past, they're gonna win again. You can never go off that because things change over time and fighters get better over time. So you can never go off that. But we obviously know like Corey Sandhagen's coming off a loss to Merab Dvalishvili. I mean, Merab is a specimen. He's a different tier. Really, like honestly, he's crazy good. But he obviously lost that fight. He got wrestled. He got fucking he Corey Sandhagen. He had a chance to win that fight. Like he had a chance, but he ultimately got dominated. Just got taken out a bunch of times. Got controlled. His strike. A lot of his strikes weren't landing as much as Merab's were. It wasn't really a fair fight when you watch it. But I'm giving my prediction to Corey Sandhagen winning by submission or decision. I think he needs to get a win here. He doesn't need to get a win here because if he loses, he'll still be ranked. But I feel like if he wants to ever be like in title contention, he needs to be Mauro Batista, and I think he's looking for a win here, and he will get this win. He's a good fighter. I like Corey Sandhagen a lot better than Mauro Batista too, so it's kind of biased, but at the same time, I think Corey Sandhagen is going to outgrapple Mauro Batista and end up submitting him. Or, just outstriking him, taking him down a lot, reversing a lot of his moves and getting the win by decision. But give me Corey Sandhagen. Corey Sandhagen is, he needs this win here to me. I think he gets this, he's getting, to the belt, back to the belt again, which I want to see. I want to see him, fighting for the title again. But you know what? Give me Corey Sandhagen. That's it for this one. Now, next fight, we have Brandon Royval versus Loner Kavanagh. Now, Loner Kavanagh is one of my favorite upcoming UFC prospects. He's extremely small. Not extremely. He's 5'6", which is not crazy, but like if you see him like in like a UFC octagon, bro, it's crazy. He looks like extremely small. He is pretty small, I'm not gonna lie, but he's a really good fighter, bro. I mean, I've watched about I watched pretty much all of his fights except for his Contender Series fight, and I know he obviously won that fight. He won by KO, but I did not watch that fight. I did not watch that. But he's so far in the UFC, he's had about like 5 fights. He's beaten Jose Ochoa. His one loss is Charles Johnson. That's his one loss in his career so far. His loss to Charles Johnson. He did get knocked out. It was a pretty bad knockout too. If you saw the way he got knocked out, he just flopped right in the mat. I mean, Charles Johnson is another guy who's not a bad fighter, but he to me he's an on and off guy now. As we get farther down into his UC tenure. But anyways, I do remember vividly in the last fight that Kavanaugh had when he decimated Brandon Moreno. Brandon Moreno, man, whatever happened to Brandon Moreno, man. He used to be a really good fighter as well. I mean, I don't even know how. He's a really good fighter though. But Brandon Moreno got dominated. He got battered in that fight against Leonard Kavanaugh. Leonard Kavanaugh dominated him so bad. And the worst part about that fight is that they were in Mexico too, his home city. Leonard Kavanaugh beat him up in his home city. I mean, Leonard Kavanaugh is different to me, and I think Brandon Royval, compared to Brandon Moreno, Brandon Royval is still a really good fighter, and he still, I would say, is like a guy who can still compete at the top of the top. As you see, he's still ranked at number 4, which is really good. He's in the top 5 of the flyweight division. And you got to cut some slack here. He is on a losing streak right now. He has lost to Joshua Van, who won as the current champ. So hear about that. He's the current champ, and he lost to Manel Cap, who should be fighting Joshua Van, the current flyweight champion. Soon, in a couple of months, he should be fighting him soon. But he lost to those two guys, which is, I mean, that's fair. Honestly, you can't really you gotta cut some slack here. But once again, like I said, Leonard Kavanaugh is going on a title run for 2027. You will see a title run from him in 2027, bro. Trust me. He's going to beat Royval. He's going to get matched against somebody else. I don't know. We don't know yet about that. We got to get to this fight first, then we can say all what we want. But I'm taking Leonard Kavanaugh to beat Brandon Royval. I think Leonard Kavanaugh, I don't think he's going to finish Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval's a tough guy, too. Brandon Royval's tough. He's not going to finish him, but I do think Leonard Kavanaugh is going to win by decision. Unanimous decision, going to probably take all 3 rounds, in my opinion. I think Leonard Kavanaugh really is just such a quick, smaller, shiftier guy. I mean, he's... I mean, to be honest, I think, in this new age of the UFC, he's an upcoming UFC fighter. I think he's obviously looking to go on a title run here. Clearly, I think he will beat Brandon Royval. It's going to be a good fight. Ultimately, I like Brandon Royval a lot, but I think Brandon Royval is going to lose this fight. And, it sucks to see, a lot of UFC fighters from, when I was, in middle school and stuff, or I was a freshman in high school, start, going down the wrong path in their career and start losing fights. But, things happen. And I think even if Brandon Royval loses this fight, or he wins, I mean, he's not gonna win this fight. Never mind, forget that. But even if he loses this fight, I still think Brandon Royval still has a chance of staying on top and still being a top 5 flyweight in the future. If he loses this fight, he still can come back in his next matchup, whatever. But give me Leonard Kavanaugh by decision. He's a younger guy. He's the upcoming UFC star to me. He's going to win this fight. He's going to show everybody why he needs to be fighting for the title. And I mean, that's all I gotta say. Leonard Kavanaugh to me is one of my favorite UFC prospects right now. He's just such a good fighter. He's so good to watch, bro. I think he also fights in Patty Plum's gym as well. Not totally sure about that, but he also a good grappler too. So, anyways, on the next fight, we have King Green versus Terrence McKinney. Now, this fight, out of all the fights I've talked about so far, this fight is one of my favorite fights just because these two guys are some big, characters in the UFC. Terrence McKinney's hilarious. Bobby Green, or King Green, excuse me, King Green's hilarious as well. They're both funny guys. They're both fun to watch. They both, they both have highlight reels. So it's such good highlights to watch, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna take for this fight. I'll explain it why, but I'm gonna take for this fight. Give me Terrence McKinney. I think the main problem with Bobby Green is, and yes, I know he's on a 3-fight win streak. But listen, hear me out. Bobby Green fights anybody, anyone in the UFC in his division. Fights anybody. But hear me out. Hear me out. On his last 3 wins, okay, Lance Gibson Jr., that's fair. That was a good win. Denzel Huber, that was a good one as well. But here's the problem with these two last wins with like Denzel Huber to me is an industry plant. He does not belong in the UFC. He's such like I don't even know why he was talking shit. In that fight with Bobby Green or King Green. I don't know why he was doing it. He's not a good fighter. And Jeremy Stevens, Jeremy Stevens is he's the definition of I wouldn't even say mid. He's like right below the definition of mid. He's just there. At this point in his career, he's just there. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, and he's been finished a lot. And not finished, but he just lost a lot of fights in his past. If you look at his past like 10 fights, like he quite literally has like one win, one win, and like a draw, or not a draw, a no contest against Yair Rodriguez. That's not really good. But he's a different story, bro. But anyway, give me Terrence McKinney to win. Terrence McKinney to me, I feel like he's a faster now. Bobby Green, a problem he has. Bobby Green, the problem with him is that he likes to keep his hands down, and he does it pretty frequently, pretty noticeable. I think in this fight, I'll try to lock in a little bit more than he did like the Zell Huber, the Jimmy Stevens. Like those two guys were scrubs. Get them out of here. They were easy. He submitted both of them. He finished them. He finished them both. Right. And I also think Terrence McKinney has more power in his hands to Bobby Green. But ultimately, I think it all comes down. I mean, you can say it's for any MMA fight in general, but I think it all comes down to specifically this fight. Is that whoever lands the first big hook, big overhand, big strike, to the face, to the jaw, anything, they win the fight. But I don't think that Bobby can keep a Terrence McKinney. Terrence McKinney's like another younger guy as well. He's not a pro. He's not a like, he's not an upcoming prospect. He's been in the UFC for some time. He's had a good amount of fights in the UFC. But I do think that Terrence McKinney is going to win and beat Bobby Green. I think he's going by finish in either round 1 or round 2. A round 1 or round 2 finish by Terrence McKinney. He's a very exciting fighter. I love King Green. I love watching King Green, but bro, this win streak is bound to end somehow, and he's gonna get another KO to his resume. Terrence McKinney's gonna win this fight by round 1 or round 2, finish KO. Ultimately, regardless, even if I'm wrong about who wins this fight is a really entertaining fight, and this fight honestly could win fight of the night because these two guys are dogs, bro. They're tough as nails, bro. So this fight can end it any way, honestly. So I'm taking Terrence McKinney by a round 2 KO. So next up we have Robert Whitaker versus Nikita Krylov. Nikita Krylov is a very special fighter. I mean, okay. Here's my problem with this fight. I feel like it's not my problem with this fight, but my problem with Robert Whitaker was once one of the best fighters on the planet, or he was probably he's one of the best fighters on the planet at one point. I remember his run with Israel Adesanya. That was a great fight. The belt, that was he has so many good moments. But once again, a lot of these guys who've been in the UFC Nikita Krylov has been in the UFC for a while as well. He has 2 stints in the UFC actually. But forget that. What I'm saying. What I'm saying is a lot of these former champs there's a lot of former champs on this card who just aren't what they used to be. And I with the last fight I was talking about, Brandon Royval, who's on a losing streak. Robert Whitaker is also on a losing streak as well, as he did lose to RDR, which is fairs. That's fairs. In the Comsat, that's fairs. Those two are good. But he hasn't won a fight in 2 years, which is a little bit concerning. I like Robert Whitaker a lot. But Nikita Krylov, to me, bro, the thing with Nikita Krylov is, I would say in his first UFC stint, you saw more striking. You saw him like throw more punches and stuff, and not really on the ground like a lot. Uh, I mean, but he is, bro. He's taller than Robert Whitaker. That's one thing. And I just honestly, he's a higher reach than Robert Whitaker, like a longer reach than Robert Whitaker too, but it's by like almost 4, I think, or 5, something like that, which is not good for Robert Whitaker as well. But Nikita Krylov, the crazy thing about him is that he has 29 finishes out of his 31 wins in the sport of MMA, which is insane. And I'm not gonna lie, in like 9 of his losses, he's been finished 9 times as well. So I don't know, man. This fight is closer than you think as well. This fight is closer than you think, really. But you know what? I feel like Robert Whitaker needs to get a finish here. But I'm not gonna lie, Nikita Krylov's grappling has improved a lot, noticeably a lot. If you've seen him fight before, there are times where he's not really a guy who will get on the ground or will try to take somebody down and try to get their back or submit them, something like that. He's not really the type of guy you've seen too much do stuff like that. But I will say I do think that Nikita Krylov is going to lose this fight against Robert Whitaker. I think Robert Whitaker is going to win. Robert Whitaker, to me, I just feel like he needs a win here. There's no way for me to explain it. He needs to get a win here. Honestly, he needs to get a win. I really hope he wins. I mean, I think he could KO Nikita Krylov because Nikita Krylov's chin isn't the strongest. He's a pretty average chin, or maybe slightly weaker, but slightly below average chin. Robert Whitaker could, KO him. But give me a round 3 Robert Whitaker KO to Nikita Krylov. But I'm not gonna lie, if it gets to the ground, I think Nikita Krylov could submit him because Nikita Krylov does have a lot of submission wins as well. So honestly, give me Robert Whitaker though by KO in like the 3rd round. He's gonna surprise a lot of people here with this win. And I think he really needs this win to boost his career even more than he's at a low point in his career right now. So if he beats Nikita Krylov, I think he's gonna, go up. And Nikita Krylov is ranked too, so that's a big win for him as well. So give me Robert Whitaker to win this fight by KO. Now the next fight, I've been waiting for this fight. I've been waiting to talk about this fight for a while, bro. When I tell you Gable Stevenson is one of the most overrated human beings in history, bro, you don't understand the amount of Gable Stevenson glaze I've seen in my lifetime, bro. Gable Stevenson is so overrated, dude. It's so bad, bro. I did research for this fight too. I never watched an Alicia Ellison fight in my life, like ever. Ever, bro. I didn't even know who this dude was when I first saw him on the card, but I do know he does have a fight in the UFC at a fight night. He did lose. I forgot who he fought. I'm not totally sure, but it was a fight night. I forgot who he fought. It was a couple months ago. But Gable Stevenson, I looked at his typology, and like you look at the guys he's fought, they're just scrubs, and he's fighting a legit guy who has like strong finishing ability. And Gable Stevenson, to me, he's an amazing wrestler. Yes, he has the wrestling. Yes, I feel like if he takes Alicia Ellison down, the fight could be over in an instant. But also, I think with these two guys, they have random spurts of like punching power. They land one crazy like overhand punch, uppercut, something like that. The fight's over in like a 10 seconds, legitimately, bro. Like actually. But I'm not gonna lie, Gable Stevenson overrated, bro. Bro, he's tried on the WWE. He's tried on the NFL. Obviously, he's a great collegiate wrestler at Minnesota, but he's trying on MMA too. But I do think in his first UFC fight, he is going to lose to Alicia Ellison. I'm not gonna lie, Gable Stevenson, I see a lot of Greg Hardy in Gable Stevenson, not in the fact that he beat up his wife. Okay, Greg Hardy did that shit. We know that. Gable Stevenson, to me, Greg Hardy obviously was a former NFL player. transferred to MMA, but he's also Gable Stevenson like a former like WWE NFL guy like who's transferring to MMA. I don't think he's gonna be doing anything, bro. I think he's going to lose his first fight and he's gonna get a bunch of other fights in the UFC and then end up fizzling at the UFC and getting cut because to me he's overrated and he will get exposed on Saturday by Alicia Ellison. Alicia Ellison is gonna KO him straight up overhand to his face, round one, like 2 minutes. Give Alicia Ellison 2 minutes for this fight. He's gonna beat Gable Stevenson by like an overhand jab, overhand punch, KO. Boom. Give Alicia Ellison to win this fight. Bang. Now for the next fight. Like I said, there are a lot of former champions on this card, and Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez. This fight is going to be sad to watch because I do like Cody Garbrandt a lot. He's a very fun. I mean, he used to be a very fun fighter back in the day. I say back in the day, I mean like 2018, 2017. I mean, he was a very fun fighter to watch, but ultimately, I do think he's going to lose his fight against Adrian Yanez. I mean, I really want Cody Garbrandt to win. Okay, his last fight that he had against like Zhao Long. I mean, I don't really care for that fight too much, but all I know is that fight was just full of hype. Like it was a pretty fun fight to watch. On the Holloway versus Oliveira fight, Oliveira card. I don't really care for that fight too much, but it was a very entertaining fight to watch. But yeah, he's coming off a win against Zhao Long. I mean, Cody Garbrandt, like he's fighting guys like Zhao Long and Randy Barcelos, who he lost to, which is insane. Because Randy Barcelos is he's so old, bro. He's almost 40 years old, dude. Which is insane. He's still fighting. But ultimately, Adrian Yanez's boxing is really good. I mean, he's extremely good strikes. He's a really good, very good boxer, good striking. I mean, ultimately, this fight is not gonna go on the ground at all. If Cody Garbrandt even tries to take him down, it's not gonna work for him. He's gonna get lights out for Cody Garbrandt in this fight. I'm sorry, I like Cody Garbrandt a lot, but it's just to me, it's just not gonna happen to where he ends up beating Adrian Yanez. And to me, in what world do you see Cody Garbrandt beating Adrian Yanez? I don't see him beating Adrian Yanez any world. Maybe 9 times out of 10, Adrian Yanez beats Cody Garbrandt, but Cody Garbrandt is gonna get slimed out, bro, very badly. I mean, I feel like after this fight, Cody Garbrandt, like he's, yeah, I don't think Cody Garbrandt should retire, but I think he's gonna be fighting a bunch of bums at the end of his career, bro. Adrian is not a bum though. I'm not saying he's a bum, but Adrian is I'm gonna give Adrian as this win by KO in round two. There's gonna be a lot of finishes on this card to me. Almost every fight could be a finish on this card. It's gonna be just like UFC 250 Freedom, where almost every fight was a finish. But I think this card, most of the fights gonna be finishes for sure. And this fight is for sure gonna be a finish where Adrian Yanez beats up Cody Garbrandt, boxes with him, knocks him out for one clean jab to the side of the face, and it's over. I'm not gonna lie. And then sad to see Cody Garbrandt. It'd be really sad. I feel bad for Cody Garbrandt in this fight because this fight is like it's against them in a way. But give me Adrian Yanez, bro, by KO in round two. He's gonna take this fight and he's gonna move on and end up going a title run. You never know, Adrian Yanez. He's a really good fighter, upcoming fighter to get a belt. He's soon to be champion. You never know, bro, because he's really good. Next fights. Okay, with this fight is gonna be really hard for me to judge because I know Luke Riley. He's another guy. He's from Patty Pimlett's gym. He's a good fighter. I watched both his fights in the UFC so far, and I like what I see from him. He's a really good fighter. He's a good he's a good striker for sure. I mean, in his last fight, he KO'd, yeah, or no, in his last fight, he won by decision against Michael Jr. I remember that fight. That was a good fight. He beat Michael Jr. And then his first ever UFC fight, he KO'd Bogdan Grad. I mean, I don't really care about Bogdan Grad at all, but he has had an amazing swipe, boom, knocked him down. He fell over on his back. The fight was over. I'm not gonna lie. Luke Riley is him, and Luke Riley is next up. But I think Luke Riley's gonna keep it 0 this fight because I'm not gonna lie. To be honest, who the fuck is Kai Kamaka, bro? The only thing, okay, before this video, I did a lot of research on Kai Kamaka. I researched about him, about who this guy is, and he has one fight in the UFC, and it was against Dakota Hope. But wait, hear me out. This fight with Dakota Hope was a very good. It was a very entertaining fight, though. I actually watched this fight to see what it was all about because I remember this fight happening, and he ended up winning. It was on the Moicano versus Duncan Fight Night card. That was a good. It was a really good fight, though. Split decision win for Kai Kamaka. But Kai Kamaka is a former PFL slash Bellator guy, and he also had one stint in the UFC. But his last stint in the UFC, he had one win over a guy, Tony Kelly. He's a nobody, in my opinion. You don't really got to worry about Tony Kelly. Didn't really do shit in the UFC either. But he has one win, 2 losses, and a draw against Danny Chavez, which is insane to me. This guy, to me, is a scrub. He's going to be a punching bag for Luke Riley. It's not a test for Luke Riley. This is going to be a slaughter for Luke Riley. Luke Riley's going to beat this guy up really badly or end up getting him down on the ground, grappling with him, and then end up submitting him. Luke Riley is that guy. Yes. Luke Riley does not have any submission wins, I'm pretty sure. But if you didn't know, he's from Paddy Pimblett's gym, and I feel like everybody from Paddy Pimblett's gym has some form of grappling. But in mostly every fight Luke Riley's ever had, most of his wins are from just like TKOing people, just punching them, ground and pounding them pretty easily. But Luke Riley's he's an upcoming fighter. He will not lose his 0 this Saturday. He's going to keep it 0 and destroy Kai Kamaka. He's going to KO Kai Kamaka in the first round. Honestly, Kai Kamaka seems like a cool guy and all that. Former Bellator / PFL guy. Had a UFC stint. Flunked out of that one because he wasn't good. He was kind of shitty. Give me Luke Riley. This is an easy no-brainer. If you pick Kai Kamaka to win, I feel like you're kind of brain dead in my opinion. But that's just me. On to the next fight. We got Tracy Cortez versus Wang Kang. Now, I've heard a lot of good things about Wang Kang. Wang Kang has a lot of power to her punches. Yes, I've watched from Wang Kang. I'm not going to lie, coming into this, I don't really watch much about Wang Kang. I'm not going to lie, I didn't know too much about Wang Kang. But, I mean, honestly, I do like this fight. As you can see, both of them are ranked. Tracy Cortez, to me, is one of those fighters who's grown a lot. I mean, obviously, every fighter grows new, strategies, new fighting techniques in their UFC career. But I feel like you can really see the changes from her when she first stepped into the octagon from her last fight, and she did lose her last fight. Sadly, I like Tracy Cortez a lot. To me, she's one of my favorite women's fighters currently, and not because she's attractive. That's not the reason why. I actually watch UFC fights for the fights, or specifically women's fights for the fights, not because they're attractive looking women. But she's a good. I feel like her grappling has really expanded a lot over the past couple years she's been in the UFC. And ultimately, I think she gets Wang Kang on the ground, she's gonna be able to out grapple her. Wang Kang is a tough. I feel like she's gonna be tough in this fight, to really finish. So I think Tracy Cortez is gonna win by decision. But ultimately, Wang Kang, even if she loses this fight, Wang Kang is still she has a lot of power to her punches. I feel like she could stun Tracy Cortez early in the fight, but once Cortez gets her to the ground and grapples her, and takes her back or something like that, and ends up submitting her, some crazy submission, whatever. she's gonna take the fight, or ultimately she could just keep her there, control her, honestly, and then end up winning by decision, which is fine, perfectly fine. Honestly, I really couldn't care. This is one of those fights where I don't really care that much about who wins, but I feel like Chris Cortez is gonna submit her. I don't know. I'm just feeling a submission win for. Yes. Yes, I do know Tracy Cortez has never. She has. Yes, this is crazy to say. In all of her fights, she has not finished anyone in all of her fights in the UFC. But I think this will be her first fight where she will either submit Wayne Kong or win by decision. But either way, Trish Cortez is a really good fighter. She's improved a lot over the years since first coming to the UFC. And I think she's gonna get a win over Wayne Kong and move up in the rankings or something like that. And we could see her, making a title run. I don't know. Hear me out. But yeah, give me Tracy Cortez by win by decision. Gonna control Wayne Kong most of the fight. So that is what it is, man. Let's get on to the next one. The next fight we have Damian Penas versus Cesar Almeida. Now with this fight, I mean Damian Penas is a very good up and coming young UFC prospect. He is he's extremely powerful. I watched his uh last fight in the UFC. Everybody's seen his contender series. KO was vicious. He killed Vitor Costa. I was destroyed him basically. But his last fight against Wes Schultz. Wes Schultz is one of those guys. He's just here, bro. Wes Schultz is just here, gang. I'm not gonna lie. Wes Schultz is gonna be the UFC punching back for the next like 5 years, bro. I mean, he got destroyed, and but Damian Penas knocked him down like 2 or 3 times, bro, in that fight. And Damian Penas, at that point, he just got tired of him falling to the ground and not being able to get up. So he just let him up, punched him again, and then boom, the fight was over. Damian Penas is a dangerous man, bro. He's going to win this fight. Give me by KO. But wait, hear me out. Yes, Cesar Almeida is 38 years old. Yes, he's an old ass guy. But hear me out. He's a crafty guy. He's a lot of experience. Crafty vet, bro. Crafty vet. I feel like he will give, in the beginning of the fight, he will give Damian Penas some troubles. And that happens. But ultimately, I do think he is going to finish Cesar Almeida in round one. KO on boom, night for Cesar Almeida. Cesar Almeida will get problems at the beginning, but I think Damian Penas is going to adapt to it, adapt to who he's fighting, and end up, knocking out Cesar Almeida. Pretty simple as that. I mean, I would hope basically everybody takes Damian Penas to beat Cesar Almeida because Cesar Almeida is not winning this fight. How do I tell you? So yeah, give me Damian Penas by KO round one. Easy prediction for this fight. I mean, it's simple, honestly. Now, with this fight, Farid Basharat versus Ethan Ewing, I really wanted to see this fight because, Ethan Ewing could have, if Ethan Ewing was still in, fighting Farid Basharat, because obviously he had dropped out because of injury. Sadly, we all love Ethan Ewing, great upcoming prospect right now, very good fighter. But let's be honest here. If he were to fight Farid Basharat, sadly, he's not fighting him. Fight's canceled. He would have beat the bricks of a Farid Basharat. Ethan Ewing is a very good fighter. I mean, Farid Basharat's not a finisher, also, and Ethan Ewing is a finisher. He would have finished Farid Basharat, in my opinion, like round one. I mean, this card is gonna be full of finishes. I don't so. If people say, "Oh wait, what do you think? Why is every one of the predictions like almost a finish?" It's because this card is just full of guys of either weak chins, like cans who are gonna get destroyed, or just guys I feel like in the heat of the moment are gonna get knocked out at the end of a fight just because like they're dogs. But like at some point in a fight they're gonna get knocked out. But with this fight, I do believe there's a replacement for Farid Basharat. It's a guy by the name of John Garza, I believe. He's a regional circuit guy who cut the eye of the UFC. They signed him, and he's gonna be fighting Farid Basharat in his upcoming fight card this Saturday. And I honestly think this guy's not ready for the UFC for this competition because Farid Basharat is undefeated. Yes, not a finisher, but ultimately Farid Basharat is going to beat this guy John Garza. versus John Garza. I don't really know too much about it. I haven't really watched film on him. I've seen a couple of clips, but clips don't define a fighter and how good they are. So, give me Farid Basharat by whatever he wants, really. I mean, I don't think he's going to finish him because he's not really a finishing guy, but, give me Farid Basharat by, let's just say, decision. Unanimous decision. You're gonna overall dominate this fight. I mean, he's just going to outclass this John Garza guy. No offense, John Garza. But, well, welcome to the UFC, brother, because you're in for a big one against Farid Basharat, who's not a great fighter, but he's a guy that I think you give him competition like John Garza. No offense, John Garza at all. I mean it's by the way. No offense to this guy. This is his first fight in a big promotion like the UFC, but this will be a loss for him. So give me Farid Basharat to win this fight. Now, for the second to last fight, we have Ryan Gondra versus Zachary Reese. Now, the thing with Zachary Reese, okay, off the bat, I'm going to tell you how I had to win. I have Ryan Gondra to win. The thing with Zachary Reese, I'm sorry, for any Zachary Reese fans out there, but Zachary Reese is he's going to lose to Ryan Gondra. Yeah. Okay, hear me out. Zachary Reese lost to Michelle Pereira and Cody Brundage, two guys who are kind of shitty. And Cody Brundage is shitty. Michelle Pereira just lost to Star Bullet too. But that fight should have been over. But I'd forget about that anyway. Give me Zachary Reese to lose to Ryan Gondra. Zachary Reese, to me, he's also had an embarrassing loss. Good dropped on his head, basically slammed, basically. I mean, Zachary Reese, he's a cool fighter. I mean, he in his fights, he's what's it called? I believe he's had a good amount of like finished fights, like finishes, or he gets finished and either he gets finished or he finishes someone in the UFC so far. I mean, he got KO'd by Cody Brundage, which is not a good sign for a UFC fighter to get KO'd by Cody Brundage ever. But there are 6 other guys who've been KO'd by Cody Brundage, which is bad. But anyways, back to what I was saying, he has lost to Michelle Pereira, which is crazy because Michelle Pereira is like not great gang at all. But Zachary does have the on the ground technical stuff with his submission. He can submit people, yeah. But Ryan Gondra is gonna keep it. To me, Ryan Gondra, he's another guy who's kind of new to the UFC. I believe he only has. I'm pretty sure he has like 2 fights, maybe 1 fight. Yeah, he has 1 fight in the UFC. He versed Jose Daniel Medina, which is Jose Medina. That's another guy for another video. He's one of the worst UFC fighters ever, bro. He's shitty, bro. Shitty. Legitimately, bro. He sucks, dude. I don't know whoever those 11 guys he beat before he came to the UFC, those guys should never be able to fight in the octagon again, bro. Those guys are shitty. But either way, give me Ryan Gondra. This guy's a KO machine, bro. He has 6 finishes out of his 9 wins, which is crazy, bro. Or 7 finishes out of his 9 wins, which is crazy. He's a really good. He's going to outstrike like Reese, beat him up a lot. I think this fight could go to the decision, honestly. Ryan Gondra's gonna win by decision, but there could be a KO any round, honestly. But I feel like Zachary Reese is tough enough to last. We'll go Ryan Gondra because Ryan Gondra obviously. He's a good striker, but I think he can last long enough to. I think Zachary Reese can last long enough with Ryan Gondra, which is I mean, this fight is whatever to me. I don't really care who wins this fight, honestly, but it's a prediction video, so I have to pick somebody. So give me Ryan Gondra by anything he wants, really. Decision, submission, KO, doesn't matter, honestly. This guy is pretty good fighter, honestly, really good. Now with the UFC 329 fight opener, we have Alessandro Costa versus Cody Durden. Now, in Alessandro Costa's last fight, if you were watching, he actually did come to this fight on short notice. Cody Durden was supposed to fight was supposed to fight Ode Osbourne, who's in there. He's Ode Osbourne versus Cody Durden as the start of this card. That would have been one of the best fights between guys who are shitty, bro. And Cody Durden to me is kind of shitty. Previously, before he beat Jeff Alville, he's on a 4-fight losing streak, bro. This guy, I mean, brother, dude, like he, in almost all of his losses, he's been finished, bro, and it's kind of sad to see. But he's on a 4 losing streak before he ended up beating Jeff Alville. And actually, fun fact about both of these guys have beat Matt Schnell. Because Alexander Costa's last fight, where he fought in the Bonfim versus Muhammad card, the fight night, he KO'd Matt Schnell. Some people say it was early stop, but Matt Schnell's chin is so like soft, so light. It was bound to happen. He was bound to lose this fight so easily. Matt Schnell is one of those guys who just is an easy, finish, easy KO, boom. And Alexander Costa showed why he's easy. But now this fight is kind of a step up. Yeah, it is a step up. Cody Durden is better than Matt Schnell for sure. So I think he's going to beat Cody Durden. And this guy's a finisher. This guy has 13 finishes out of his 16 fights, which is really good. He's been in the UFC for a couple years. Some of his losses are, he did lose to Amir Albazi, which is, I'm not a big fan of Amir Albazi, bro. I don't think Amir Albazi should be ranked as high as he is. But it is what it is. That's the UFC meta rankings. Those are shit anyway. That's another video that's going to be, whatever, man. I don't even care, bro. Those rankings are shitty, bro. And almost everybody agrees with me on that. Everybody should agree on that. Let's disregard this fight for a minute. The UFC meta rankings are shitty, bro. They're ass. But anyway, he did lose to Mirabazi, which is, it's fair, I guess. I don't know. But this guy's in a 2-fight win streak. Both of his wins on his last 2 fights have been finishes. They've been KOs. KOs still were Nico and obviously Matt Schnell on the Bonfim Muhammad card. But give me Elson Acosta by he's gonna KO Cody Durden. Cody Durden, yes, he's also coming off a win as well. But this guy he gets beat up a lot, and he gets beat up by a lot of guys who are he's kind of a test for a lot of UFC guys when they're in the early stages of their career. He lost to Tagir Olembikov, who was let's start Tagir Ulanbekov. I can barely say his name right. Holy shit. Lost to Bruno Silva, and that's a bad loss. Bruno Silva he's a fake demon, bro. He was ranked, by the way, but Edgar Chaya stole that from him. Anyways, and he lost to Alan Nascimento. Alan Pillow Hands Nascimento. That guy is pillow hands, bro. But he does have a bunch of submission wins, so that's very good. Once it got the ground from him, it was probably over. But Cody Durden's kind of a test for a lot of young, upcoming UFC fighters who are starting out their career kind of early. Like, Alexander Costa's been in the UFC for like 3 years. Yes, that's a good amount of time. But I would still say that he hasn't had a full experience in the UFC really. So I do think he's gonna beat Cody Durden. He's a young upcoming guy. He has a lot of KO power. Most of his wins are by finishes as well. And Cody Durden is a pretty easy guy to finish. And Cody Durden is also, the older guy as well. Alexander Costa is shorter than Cody Durden, but Cody Durden has a very weak chin. He's gonna get chinned really badly by Alexander Costa. So honestly, give me this fight. The win goes to Alexander Costa by finish. Or honestly, this fight could go to decision. But you know what? Cody Durden's chin is weak as shit, bro. Cody Durden can get fucking destroyed. So give me Alexander Costa by KO or submission. Either way, he's gonna finish him whenever he wants. So yeah, honestly, okay. So that was my fight predictions for this UFC 329 card. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. I I really wanted to showcase what I know. I would say I'm still kind of a casual MMA fan. I don't really know too much about. I'm not the elite a level of knowledge about the UFC, but you know, I'm giving my predictions, I'm giving my opinions on who I think is going to win these fights, and there's more to come to this channel. A lot of videos I'm going to be, you know, adding upon here as well. So I do want to say, yeah, you know, I had a lot of fun making this video, and you know, that's going to be the end of this. And hopefully I can get out another video this week before the UFC 329 post card, you know, showing all the winners and seeing if I had a lot of good predictions. Hopefully I do. But you know, that's gonna be the end of this video here, and I hope everybody enjoyed. And please like and subscribe. You know, it's gonna be a lot of good content on this channel. And you know what? I do want to shout out a guy who inspired me to start this channel by the name of Money Manza MMA. You know, if you're not subscribed to Money Men's MMA, please subscribe to him as well, because he's also he's one of the best MMA content creators on YouTube right now, bro. He's on a grind as well. So please, you know, show some love to him as well, because he inspired me to do this, and I want to give credit to why I started this. So I'm going to give credit to him. So you know what? And that's going to be the end of this video. I hope everybody enjoyed this video, and good night, you know. Have a good night, everybody, and peace.